If you are a minor, you seriously can't be on my page this time because this conversation is going to get for real on a topic that I don't think certain people should be listening to, okay? So, in a moment, the article will pop up. But before it does, I doubt most parents, the day that you hold your daughter and the day you bring her back from the hospital, you sit and say, I dream one day of her being a high paid porn star. Nobody does this, right? No one sits back and says, this is what I want from my child. So, I say that to get into the article because some of the things I'm going to say here are going to be so buck wild, it's going to blow some people's mind. But in the end, I'm gonna let it be known. I'm gonna take this to a place where people don't think I'm going to take it, because there's a myriad of conclusions you can draw from this. So, we're about to take a trip to Great Britain, where a woman living in Australia, but she's from Great Britain, decided that she ought to do an experiment which would make parents thankful for freshmen young men entering college. She would sleep with as many as possible because that's who she is. She would tape it, and then before taping it, have them sign a non-disclosure agreement. Okay? Yeah, you heard me right. So, this is where it gets audacious. The day before the start of the freshman year at this university in the United Kingdom, this 25-year-old something, and this is a very pretty woman. I've seen the photos. I refused to put them here and instead decided to use stock photos of different types of women who don't necessarily live this lifestyle, but I just didn't want to put her pictures up. But she's a pretty 25-year-old. Okay. The day before, her mother decides to stand on campus handing out flyers and condoms and encouraging people to go sleep with her daughter. Okay. Her mother even helped make the signs for her campaign to see if she could sleep with as many virgin 18-year-olds as possible. Yeah, I want that to sink in. Just as bad as her father, who takes her business card whenever he can and goes to the pub with his friends, not fans, sorry, and passes out his quotation mark influencer daughter's business cards to young men in the pub having a drink while he's out with his friends. The father of this young woman. Let that sink in. Okay. Her parents' attitude towards this is not the career we would have preferred her to take. Duh, no parent would, right? But so long as it makes her happy. So she's making money, and that seems to be one of the motivating factors of why they changed their mind. In this experiment, she ends up pulling in 500 pounds. I didn't check for the U.S. currency. I should have done the equivalency, but I didn't. She had a line outside of the door once it got out, and did it for 2 consecutive weekends. Eventually, another one of her porn star friends also joined in on it. Okay. Now, this is how the article reads. She also made a trip to Cancun, Mexico, because we know what happens in Cancun in spring break. You can read between the lines because Americans still go to Cancun. and in one night slept with 22 young American students, but did the same thing, had them sign non-disclosure agreements and taped it. But she alluded, that the American males that age seemed a lot more experienced and were having a good time in comparison to the 18-year-old British men, whom quite a bit of them were nervous. I don't know if this was while she was in Mexico, or well, it was likely while she was in Great Britain, that one or two of the young men told their grandfathers about her, and even two of the grandfathers got in on it and got a free sex session with this woman. I can go into the fact that what possesses you as a parent to make signs for your daughter saying, hey, go sleep with her, much less passing out flyers and condoms condoning it. What father goes to a bar with business cards and, hey, you know, my daughter wants you to bang her, here's some business cards? I'm not going to go into should shame be brought back to society. It's not where I'm going to take this, okay? I'm not going to take this to bad parenting, although in my opinion, this is what this is. So I can only imagine what she grew up with. We can make an argument that a two-parent home should bring about a certain amount of stability, right? Because the Americans who slept with her did it in Mexico. Do they necessarily have jurisdiction in the United States? Since they signed a non-disclosure, then were permitted to be taped. Because let's face it, she did a reverse Girls Gone Wild. Only she got them to sign non-disclosures and things like that. She doesn't fool me, okay? Before I get into the heart of why I think she did it, I'm going to get into the business aspect of it. At 25 years old, you have a short window of time before you can no longer be an online sex influencer. What does tapes of a couple of hundred men and non-disclosure agreements give her? It gives her two income streams in the future. One, to make a documentary, and two, to write a book. Think she won't try it. And what are you going to do? Because I don't know how barristers, which what they call, I think, lawyers in the United Kingdom, are going to do, because these young men signed a non-disclosure agreement. The Americans signed it in Mexico. So how would the United States even have a jurisdiction? Because you're 18 years old, you're grown, you made a consensual decision. Best bank, a documentary and a book gonna come out of this. She's smart enough to know that her window of time is drying up. Okay. This ideal that parents should be thankful that you slept with their quotation marks virgin sons is ridiculous, because I can bet your behind half those boys you slept with were not virgins, okay, ma'am? You were probably just so pretty, or prettier than some of the women they banged when they were teenagers, that they got nervous. Look, this conversation gonna get real. Here is where I told y'all I'm gonna take this in a direction that you didn't see coming. Okay. I dislike when people engage in behaviors and then use rationales like, these parents should be thankful that I'm deflowering their sons and giving them a healthy sense of sexual gratification. That's her excuse, right? And then she had the nerve to say anybody who thinks their sons don't want to sleep with a porn star is hiding under a rock. Has it occurred to you that there is a small fringe of men that age and up don't desire that. How hard is that for you to understand? Here's where I'm gonna go with this before I wrap this up. If you want to do things outside of the norm and you're comfortable with doing things and putting yourself out there, just accept the fact that that's what you chose to do and don't rationalize it. Look, ma'am, you're a freak, okay? You just like doing the horizontal polka with lots of men in one sitting. Let's call this what it is. If you've done this, it was one thing that you flew back to Great Britain and did it with college students in 2 consecutive weekends, but to boast that you also did it with Americans in Cancun, you're a freak, ma'am, okay? You're a freak. Some people call it nymphomaniac. Some people call it a healthy sex life. Ma'am, you're a freak. You like getting your cheeks clapped by random men all in one night. And I'm not here to judge the fact that you did it. What I am getting a little concerned about is your rationale. Oh, the parents will thank me. No, that's not a good enough rationale, ma'am, because you got their sons on tape, and one of these days these boys will wake up and want respectable wives, some of them, and they'll know somewhere out there a tape is floating that could be used in a documentary or could be used in a book, because come on, that's 2 income streams you can carry in the future. Let's not play in 2024. Let's not. You a freak, and you saw the benefit of being a freak while making money from being a freak. Let's call this what it is. Because I bet people thought I was going to talk about bringing back shame. No, what I'm going to talk about is you got to stop rationalizing decisions when you know they're not good decisions by putting it off on who should be grateful for it, who going to benefit from it, when you know this is something you chose to do. Because I can respect porn stars who did this to themselves or OnlyFans models, and they don't put the responsibility off on other people to rationalize why they did what they did. They just realize that they made a choice, and society's gonna have different opinions of how that choice was carried out. They don't go around blaming people. Because this right here is a low subversive form of blame. You're an adult, ma'am. You're a freak. You like the horizontal polka. Okay? You love the feel of men's. Don't rationalize it by saying that this is a way to help virgins deflower themselves. You just a freak, ma'am. It is what it is. I'm not here. Notice I'm trying to keep an even tone. I'm not trying to be funny. Does anybody else feel the same way I do, or do you see this story differently? I'll try to leave the link because, again, the Daily Mail often refreshes. Are people now getting so comfortable in their questionable behavior that it's just better to find some way of leveraging it to other people to not take responsibility? Am I the only one seeing this?